Hello and welcome to Easy Like a Sunday Morn. I'm your host, Shane Lockwood, and this is episode 32, and this is the 2nd of November 2014. Now, for those of you who are confused, this is my third attempt at doing the show today. This is a live broadcast, and I tried two previous times, but I ran out of space, so I had to delete previous episodes and stuff like that. Now, before anybody panics about missing episodes, they are removed from Spreaker and other podcast apps programs. However, there is always a record of the programs on YouTube, so you will never ever miss an episode if you want to go back and listen to certain episodes. The ones that keep getting listened to I will keep up, but eventually I will have to start paying for space and things like that on Spreaker, and I might as well do it at a certain point in the future, and we'll get some statistics and things happening. Now, thank you very much for tuning in each and every week, and I will say thank you to those who are listening to this show for the very first time, and for everybody who generates traffic towards my podcast and my YouTube channels and such and so forth. Now, I want to say thank you especially to those who are listening to the show on iHeartRadio. I want to thank you guys, and I'd like to ask you a question. How are you finding the show? How are you being notified that there's a brand new episode? I know that you're being notified somehow. I've got the iHeartRadio app, but I don't know. And I've actually subscribed to this podcast on that app. I subscribe to this podcast on all the apps, so I can listen back and see whether they still work and whatever else. So I'd like to know, if you are listening to this through the iHeartRadio network, please click like or whatever and leave feedback. The best way to leave the feedback is through either the YouTube channel, which I'll link to in the show notes, or through sending me a tweet at SHAIDO, that's Shido on Twitter. Send me a tweet letting me know that you listen to the show and how you are informed that there's a new show up and running. Let's see. Now, this is a Halloween special, and I hope things aren't too spooky where you are. Speaking of Halloween, in the podcast Facebook group, the Facebook group for this podcast, I asked a little bit of a suggestion as to what I should be doing for the show in terms of Halloween, and the response I got was rather scary. You see, there was a comment left by someone who'd been stalking me for the last couple of months, and the comment chilled me to the bone. The comment was simply, "Why should we worship evil?" And words like that, words to that effect. And I decided that at that point to ban the person that made the comment, because this is a guy that had been stalking me for a long time. I didn't know that he clicked like on the Facebook group, which meant that he could read all the comments and stuff that was coming up. So before, this guy was causing trouble because, long story short, 6 months ago he joined the Hillsong Church, which is a cult. Unfortunately, it is a cult. They make millions of dollars, and they rip people off the 10% tithing stuff, each and every week. They're televangelists. It's the biggest scam out there, right? And this guy fell for it. He started to get brainwashed about 6 months ago. And he uploaded a video, or shared a video on Facebook, where this guy was, trying to refute evolution and stuff like that. Now, evolution is scientifically sound. It's backed up and it's observed by pretty much every field of science. They can't escape it. It's just there. And I just highlighted that the video that he had had shared was debunked by other people online. I just said, look, this has been debunked. This guy's telling lies. He's a con artist, whatever. And so he unfriended me on Facebook. Fine, fair enough. That's immature, but whatever. I thought that would have been the end of it. Now, you may remember that a while back I had been asking on the Facebook group, what for suggestions for ideas for the show, and my good friend Gus, who runs the Tough Car Toy Run charity, he said, "Oh, why don't you advertise my Tough Car Toy Run?" So I said, "Yeah, okay, fine, I'll do that." So I did that. And when he did that, when he posted that, this other guy saw it and then posted some filth that I cannot repeat what he said. And it was just a mirroring of a popular meme that was going around at the time, that was rather misogynistic and rather disrespectful to women. And so I blocked him on Facebook. I just had nothing to do with him, right? Then recently he decides to subscribe to my YouTube channel, and I blocked him there. Google decided not to remove his subscription. When you block someone on YouTube, you have to block them on YouTube, you have to block them on Google+, and I've done that, right? But it doesn't unsubscribe these people, unfortunately. Now, it used to, but it doesn't now. So, and I've talked to people that say, "Oh, well, there's not it'll get rid of him eventually," but it's been 2 weeks. He's a real problem. Anyway, so he'd click like on the Facebook group, so he was reading all this stuff, and he subscribed to my YouTube channel because I was cutting and pasting the YouTube links to the Facebook group, right? So he was being, like, at least there was some sort of monetization for the podcast. So anyway, he starts posting this stuff about how Halloween's evil and all this sort of stuff, and you just think, oh, look, I had to ban him from the Facebook group. The moment he unfriended me, I really didn't want to have anything to do with him, and yeah, so he's lost the plot. He's off the banana. Okay, now, speaking of the Tough Car Toy Run, right, that ran yesterday, the 2014 Tough Car Toy Run Challenge ran yesterday, and there was over 1,000 people who promised to go to that event. I don't know how many people, the final figures, but I've seen photos, and there are lines of cars. There's like, there must be at least 500 cars there in one of the photos. And the purpose of the Tough Car Toy Run was to donate brand new toys to children with cystic fibrosis and cancer. So you can imagine there's, like a hallway filled, like not a hallway, but an actual hall. Imagine like a church hall filled with like toys for kids. That's absolutely fantastic. So congratulations, guys, for doing that. Thank you. Big pat on the back for the Tough Car Toy Run Challenge. So it was a lot bigger than last year, and it's going to be insane next year. So apparently everybody had a great day. It was a very chilled atmosphere. The weather was perfect, so they had barbecue and meals and music and all that sort of good stuff happening there. Now, last week I was at Port Macdonald, and when I do a podcast, please have Google open, unless you are listening to this through your headphones on your mobile phone or something like that. But if you open Google and you click on Maps, and you type in PORT space MACDONNELL. There's a place called Port Macdonald, and it's on the southern coast of Australia. In fact, it's the most southerly point in Australia on the mainland. So it excludes Tasmania and stuff like that, but it's the most southerly point in the Australian mainland, and it gets rather cold. It can be like a good 10 degrees colder than anywhere else in the mainland. But we went through, on the way up there, it takes about 6 hours, I think, to get there. It's 400 kilometres away from Adelaide. And we went through a town called Keith, Keith, and that was 35 degrees Celsius, so it's nearly around about 100 degrees Fahrenheit, and it dropped down to 18 degrees when we got to Port Macdonald, so it was like a massive temperature drop. So yeah, if you go to visit there, always wear a sweater, or take a sweater or a jacket with you, because you never know what the temperature is going to be like. It was very, very windy, and I got a lot of footage of the wind and stuff like that. And I'll show you, basically film where I was staying and stuff like that. But I'm talking really fast because I've got a lot of stuff to go through with this show. So I was there to help celebrate my father's wife's 59th birthday in a lead up to her 60th birthday. And I ended up spending the night, I think 4:30 in the morning, dancing with a woman named Sue. And just a word of advice to Sue: it's not worth going to divorce court if you see a guy that you like. It's definitely not worth it. Just think of the grandkids. Just think of the lollies and the biscuits. Lollies and biscuits. Lollies are candy, and biscuits in Australian are cookies. We call them biscuits, and we call candies lollies. So just think of that. Because what she said was she's the queen of the lollies and biscuits because she's a grandmother. So just go easy and stuff like that. But we'll always have Fernando, okay? Let's see, where are we going? Now, this week's show was going to be a lot earlier, but I wanted to send a bit of a shout out to a company called Better Battery, because while I was at Port Macdonald, my little laptop netbook thing died, and there's nothing wrong with the laptop itself. I thought it was the battery, because the battery had decided that it was no longer going to hold a charge. But it turns out, and so I've just spent money on getting a new battery through this company, Better Battery, and they delivered, and it didn't take very long at all. I thoroughly recommend them. The service is fantastic, and they're very fast delivery, and I got exactly what I ordered. But it turns out that there was something wrong with the battery charger, not the battery charger. So what I've done is I've ordered another battery charger through Better Battery. So they provide that service as well. So when I get the battery charger and get the brand new battery the band, excuse me, the brand new battery charger, charging the brand new battery, I'll be able to do the show on my little netbook and hopefully cut a lot of the background noise. I'm doing this through my iPhone, but I've made it a lot clearer because I'm doing this in my room, because people have said that I sounded a lot stressed because of what was going on last week. Yes, I was very stressed, and things like that. I had an appointment on Tuesday. No, I had an appointment on Monday that I couldn't make, so I had to ring them up and cancel it and stuff like that because I was 400 k's away. But that's the breaks. So, what else? What else do we have? Oh yes, there was a 7.1 earthquake in Fiji, and as yet there's no tsunami warning. So I hope that everybody's safe and there was no deaths from that. At home, because if you ever visit my father, the first thing he talks about is computers and whatever else. But he mentioned defragging the computer, and I'd been putting it off, because I was at university and things like that. Now, you're probably thinking, well, what is defragging? Defragging is something that you need to do to your hard drive very often. But for those of you who are computer illiterate, I'll explain what it is and why you need to do it. Now, most people have a hard drive on their computer. The hard drive is a storage device that contains the operating system, whether it's your Windows 95, your Windows, Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 8.1, Windows 10, Linux, and Ubuntu, and all these other different operating systems that you can use. Now, the hard drive is where all your photos and all your videos and everything, that all your information gets stored on the hard drive. That wasn't always the case, but with modern computers, that's where the information is stored. Now, what happens is when you remove, say, if you delete files and delete stuff, delete programs off your computer, you are deleting them not exactly physically, but yeah. The computer has to go back and forth to read this disk that spins. It spins, it's circular, it spins, and over time, because it'll place a piece of information here, and then at one point on the disk, and then while the disk is spinning, of course, then it goes here. But over time, it gets lazy and goes, oh no, I'll put it here. So you can imagine that a program will get fragmented. Now, it's not the software side of things that is fragmenting, it's the physical location of the file itself on the hard drive. So the reason your computers slow down over time is because your files are becoming fragmented. So you go to load your web browser to listen to this program, for example, or you want to download a YouTube video. The computer goes off and says, okay, I've got to open this. It goes off and looks for the files that it needs to open to run a YouTube channel, download a YouTube video. Well, what happens is, imagine if the files that it needed were physically spread out over the hard drive. It has to find each and every one, right? Imagine if it had to find each and every one, but they were spread out rather than being in the one spot. When you first buy a computer, everything is all in the one spot, so it's really, really fast. Over time, things get spread out, and yeah. As a result of being spread out, it slows the computer down. And it can slow the computer down to the point where you can't even watch a video, let alone do anything else. So yeah, I came home and decided I'm going to defrag my hard drive. And it turns out that I hadn't actually defragged my hard drive for the last 4 years or so. Apologies for that. Thank goodness for being able to turn the mic off when I needed to. Had to take care of something rather urgent. Excuse me. So, hadn't defragged my hard drive in a number of years. Don't tell my dad, I'll get in big trouble. But apart from that, what else? Oh, you came back and the fragmented. What happens is you analyse the hard drive, and with a program you can use. There's a Windows-based defragmenter, or you can download a program called Defraggler. I'm not sure how to spell that. DEFRAGGGLER. You can download that. If you are computer illiterate, please get one of your computer technician friends to download it for you, and you need to be using it every day, right? If you're using a Windows-based operating system, it'll speed up your computer so much faster. Now, where was I? Yeah, defragging. So, what happens is there's a display. You click. There's two buttons: Analyze, which goes through, and the computer will check what needs to be defragmented, and what needs to be defragmented, and it displays like I think 4 or 5 rows of coloured squares, and then there's a key that tells you which sections of the hard drive need to be defragged and which ones are healthy. And the ones that need to be defragged are in red, and red, and if it's healthy, it's in blue. And of course, I see like a sea of red. It's just all red. There's like 2 blue squares. And I'm thinking, oh geez, I've got to do this now. So I spent the last, say, 2 days with the defragging program running. I've probably saved about 10% of my hard drive so far. Yeah, so 10% of my hard drive, excuse me. Thirsty. Yeah. So yeah, 10% of my hard drive has got saved. I'm rambling again because I'm walking around doing stuff that I shouldn't be. But I need to get a show up. You need to get a show up. Right now. I'm running out of time. 6 minutes left. Right, let's go for the home stretch, shall we? Okay, Fiji. Hope the people are okay. Defragging the hard drive needs to be done. Radio school. There's a radio school that another podcast here in Adelaide was advertising, and I'm thinking of doing that. And I think it doesn't start till January for enrolments, but I want to save up a fair bit of money. It's like $1,100 just for the basic course, but it's 12 weeks of like 2 hours a week. So it's basically once a week, you go there for 2 hours and that's it. It seems fairly easy to me, but I really want to do it. But at the same time, because of the large, tax return, because of the large tax return that I got, I've got enough money to go to Chester in the UK. And I want to find out what the best time is to go to Chester in the UK. So if you live in the UK, please let me know what the seasons are. Like when is it likely to snow? When is there basically like the least rain? What is Chester like? If you've been to that, that proverb, province, to that. If you've been to that area, let me know. Also, I'm really running out of time here. Radio school. Oh yeah, I've bought several things with the tax return. I've got a Godzilla statue, which I'll talk about on YouTube once I get it. Got the laptop battery charger, which I talked about. A lot of people promised interviews and things like that, but there were no real takers. Once again, if you want to be on the show, send me a tweet on Twitter. That's at SHAIDO, Shido on Twitter, or email me. It's Shane_Lockwood@hotmail.com, and all the information will be in the show notes down below. And what else is there? The code word for today. What have we got here? The code word will be protect. PROTECT. The code word is protect, and all you have to do with the code word is enter it into whichever format you're seeing this, preferably through YouTube. I'm going to include a link to my YouTube channel that you can subscribe to, and that way, as this show comes up on YouTube, you can leave feedback. You can leave feedback on Spreaker. I don't know about iHeartRadio. Once again, if you're listening to this through iHeartRadio, please let me know how you are picking up the show and how you're knowing that it's being that there's a new show available. Now, I realise the show was live. It's unprepared. I do have notes of what I needed to go through. Oh, Doctor Who. There was a major